Hello, this is Angela with Peninsula School District here to show you a little bit about your Google Suite accounts and tools. It's also called Google Apps for Education or G Suite. In Peninsula School District, all students and staff have an edtools account. That is their Google account. For students, they use their Peninsula School District ID number. So it's often that long number that starts with 2 at edtools.psd401.net. That is the format of your account and email address. So just know that in a lot of our products and tools, we use that Gmail account or that edtools account. On the portal, once the student logs in, they do have an area that is populated with a few Google tools, but just a few, and this one is pretty outdated. But let's talk about the first one, Google Drive. So I'm going to click the G, the green G, and then Google Drive, and it loads my drive. Now this is a place where you can have a lot of organization and a lot of information, ability to search for files and organize and find things. The first thing I'll say is every now and again you'll want to search or look for things in different formats. Right up here is called either the grid view or the list view. If you click it once, it becomes a list of files and formats of things you find. And if you click it again, it becomes a grid view. Now, I don't think I've conducted a search, so it doesn't look very different. But down here, you'll notice that this is a list view of folders and files. The folders show up as items that look like folders, and the files show up underneath it. They say who owns it, when was it last modified, and even the file size on a few things. So if you want to see list view with who's the owner, the date it was last modified, and the file size, I would leave it in list view. But if you're a person that likes to see things in more of a visual way and wants to view their files in a visual format, then you might want that. Now, for me, I go back and forth depending on what I need and what I'm doing. So do know that you can use this button in a variety of ways when you need to. Now, on the left is the menu bar. The menu bar, you can search your drive to look for things. You can just say, I just want to look at the files that people have shared with me. Or I just want to see my most recent files because I know I just did it a couple hours ago. Or you can star some files. High school student has only starred 2 files, but they show up right away if I need quick access to them. There's also a new one that's called priority. So you can use these tools in a variety of ways to organize yourself. I usually stay in my drive if I'm searching for something, and I come up here and I'll type the first few letters to find it, and I have 3 files with the word essay in them. So I could guess right now, or I could hit enter and it'll show me all those files with the word essay in them. Now, you can also come to the pull-down menu and search for a different file type. So if I was just looking for video files, I could search for video files or spreadsheets or documents, whatever the case may be. You can search for file type. You can search for if somebody was the owner. So you could say a specific person, type in a staff member, a teacher, or a peer, so another student's name, user ID, and hit search on that. So now I'm searching for anything, but let's say it didn't have the word essay in it, anything that Mrs. Squires has shared with me. And these are the files that she has shared with me. I can take a look and know that that's a Google slide because of the yellow color and the shape. I believe that's a Jamboard file. These are Google Docs because of the blue with the white lines on it. So as you become familiar with Google products, you'll become very familiar with their icons. This is a Google Sheet. This is a PDF because it's red and it says PDF on it. So, and this is a folder. These are videos. So you really can tell at a moment's glance what kind of files Mrs. Squires has shared with me. And you can do it this way too, like the list view. And again, it's only going to show up with Mrs. Squires here because I just did a search for files shared with me from Mrs. Squires. So that is how you can search for something. I'm going to go back to my drive so it cleans out that search bar to be empty, and I'm just right in my drive. If I wanted to start creating, you can hit that new button and you can make a new folder, or you can upload a file from your Chromebook or other device, or even upload a whole folder with items in it. Or you can hit docs to make a new doc, sheets to make a new sheet, slides to make a new slide, and so on. And there's even more in the more button. So let's make a new doc. We're going to call it English 9 October Essay. And then I can start writing my essay. If you want to learn more about any given product, we suggest you just Google it or YouTube it to find a tutorial. But there's a lot of amazing tools in Google Docs and in all of these products. So please consider, just asking a teacher or asking your librarian or doing a little searching online to find some answers. But that is a basic way you begin a document. You always want to name it, and then you can start working on it. Let's talk about share settings. When you click that share button, you want to make sure that you do a couple of things. I always look at the bottom first, and I usually change that share permission to anybody in Peninsula School District can view. Now, and then you can even hit copy link to give that link to somebody. So that's option 1. Option 2 is to come up here and hit the share area. And let's say I wanted to share it with Mrs. Squires. I just start typing in her name and she'll pop up. And I can click her. I can even write her a message. But let's say I didn't want her to edit my file. I just wanted her to comment on it or view it. You can change what status or level of editing privileges any given person has, whether it's a peer, like another student, or if it's a staff member, like one of your teachers. So definitely think about adding people that way, changing their level that way, writing them a message if you want to tell them why you're sending this to them, or just making sure that you get a copy link and making it accessible to anybody in Peninsula School District. Now, you can also, I would suggest always doing this in Drive, in Docs, in Sheets, in any tool. Always go over to the right and make sure it's your account. Certainly you see in many of the Google tools this Peninsula School District logo, so that's an indicator that it's not your personal Gmail account or your mom's personal Gmail account. But what if you're sharing a device, whether it be a Chromebook or a computer, with a brother or a sister? You really want to make sure it's your login, because what if they left themselves logged in? So hover over on the user here and make sure it's your own edtools account. Okay? So that's something I would do in Drive and in any Google product just to double check. So here, it doesn't have that Peninsula School District logo, but you could certainly still hover over it to make sure it's the right account. So that is how you can begin using some of the tools in Google Drive with all your Google files. Now, because I hit new and I made that file right when I was in my Drive, it's just going to go straight into my Drive. It's not going to go into any folder. But let's say I wanted to make a file that was in my writing folder. So I am going to go to double click that writing folder. And now, anytime I make a file from this moment forward where I'm at, because I'm in the writing folder, I'm in my Drive, I'm in writing. If I hit new, it's going to go in that writing folder. So let's make a new Google Slides just to show you how it's done. Let's name it So I named it English 9 October slide deck, but let's see where this is going to. If you now hit refresh on your Google Drive, you can see that it's now populated into that folder because it shows up in my writing folder. So that's one way you can easily organize yourself and keep yourself, your Google Drive nicely organized. And remember, to make new folders, all you do is come over to the new button and hit folder. So you can name them, and you can even make them a different color. So I've got Google Slides open. You can come over to theme and change your theme. You can start working on your Google Slides. You can go to share and share it with, again, different students or different staff members, and they can have editing rights or commenting rights or just viewing rights. So that's a little bit about how you can do Google Slides and Google Docs. Now, do know that we came in to get those tools from the new button. You can also just hit the plus on any Chrome browser, as long as you're logged in, and type in the name of the product. So I'm going to type in sheets.google.com, and it will take me to a landing page for the spreadsheet program for Google. And that's what it looks like. It's almost the same as my Drive because it shows me all my recent sheets, and it gives me a little template gallery if I wanted to choose a template. So it's kind of a neat option if you wanted to just go directly into your tools that way. Now from the portal, you can open up Gmail because we have that link here. Or again, you can hit the plus and type gmail.google.com and open up your Gmail directly from a new tab or directly from the portal. And this is high school students' Gmail. So the other one I wanted to show you is Sites, because that's a tool you might want to use a lot in classes to do projects. Now here, when you hover over it in the portal, it says Classic Google Sites. I would strongly recommend not using that because it's the older version of Google Sites. I would strongly recommend either coming into Google Drive and hitting plus, new, and then going more and going Google Sites right there, or going to a new tab and type sites.google.com and open up the landing page for Google Sites and making a new website that way. So you could just hit blank, or you could pick a certain look or style. Let's go, this one says class. So it's opening up. The very first thing I would suggest you do is you make a file name for it. So change it to, I'm going to call this one English 9 website, October, but name it something more unique for yourself. Now you would want to change the name of the website too, and you want to name the actual website, and this I believe will become part of your URL. So be careful with this because you want it short and concise. But again, Google this or YouTube it to find out a really good tutorial to watch to learn how to do this, or ask a teacher or a peer. But that is how you can get into Sites, Gmail, Sheets, Slides, Docs, and your Google Drive, and go into share settings to change how you share things out with either staff or students, and how you use Google Drive to stay organized, and to use folders, and to use this grid or list view and the search bar to find files. So let us know if you have any concerns or questions. You can email servicecentral@psd401.net. Thanks.